The road to recovery from burnout in language learning is a long one, and it requires a lot of patience. Now, I made a video on getting out of the ultimate language rut a couple of years ago, but one thing that I didn't talk about was the theme of things that can prevent you from recovering from that burnout or that rut. And it's important to be aware of these things because if you're not, they just slip right into your routine unnoticed or in your own language journey, and then that actually makes the recovery process take longer than it could take if you're aware of these things. These are some lessons I've picked up from my own road to recovery from burnout in language learning, and I thought I would share them with you. The first thing that gets in your way is impatience. Patience is one of the language learning virtues that you can cultivate, being patient with yourself and with others. But where impatience comes in when it comes to trying to recover from burnout is when you're being impatient with yourself and with your progress. With yourself because you wish that you had a higher level and you're chastising yourself because you're not back to where you used to be yet and you already want to be there, and that goes hand in hand with being impatient about your own progress, which would look like being upset that you're not back at that same spot and just trying to rush the process rather than just going with the flow. And that can hurt you because if you're not ready yet, then you're only going to feel frustrated. Sometimes, and here's a metaphor of not a great story, or maybe I should say, rather than a metaphor, it is an illustration from my life. But I was driving home from work one day, and the car, all of a sudden, I'm on the highway, all of these cars are going around me, and very quickly, might I add, because I'm on the highway, and all of a sudden, some lights came on my dashboard, and the car just stopped accelerating. Like, it was still going, but I could not press on the gas to go any faster, and it was starting to slow down. So what I did at that point was I continued to try to press on the gas, and guess what? It did nothing, and I ended up being safe and pulled over and found out what was wrong with the car. There was an issue going on with it. However, that situation where I just pressed on the gas and nothing happened. Sometimes in our language journeys, we get impatient and we just try to focus on our studies instead of on resting, which is what we actually need. And when we try to do something that we just can't bring ourselves to do, it's actually not going to work out. And if anything, it can harm you. So when it comes to something like being impatient, I would recommend taking baby steps to get back into your routine, which I did mention in the language rep video, and then knowing your limits. For me, that baby step in my own practical journey, the most consistent thing I have done for myself in a couple of years, aside from using my languages at work, so the for fun type of language learning, or activities that I was doing in my own routine, is I've been watching a childhood show that I enjoy, but in Brazilian Portuguese. And that is the most consistent thing I have been doing every day for a while now, watching this kids show that I really enjoyed from my own childhood, but in Portuguese, which I'm learning. And I've been doing that every day around the same time. I time my lunch breaks from work around that so that I can enjoy this show. Another thing that could really get in your way when it comes to recovering from burnout is insecurity. Where does that insecurity stem from? That is a question that you have to ask yourself because you might be feeling insecure for a number of reasons. One in particular, to give an example, might be pride. You might be feeling bad, tying this back to what I said before about wishing that you had the level that you used to have because you might be a little bit rusty now, because you decided to take a break from learning languages because of that rut. You see that chain effect. But one of those things might be you're feeling prideful. Even if you don't realize it in the moment because you're not thinking you're so great, you're actually thinking that you're not great, so it sounds like you're not being prideful. But in reality, that insecurity can be stemming from pride if you're feeling like, well, I should have a higher level and I don't want to make mistakes and I might as well not do what I have to do to get back up to where I was because I don't want to make a fool of myself and it's going to be embarrassing and discouraging. And this is something I have had to deal with in my own journey as well. This inner conflict of knowing that I'm going to have to use my languages and make mistakes in order to get back to the level that I was at, but at the same time not wanting to do that because I don't want to make mistakes that I might not have made before or haven't made in a long time. The final obstacle in your road to recovery from language burnout is dwelling on the shame, those shameful feelings, those negative feelings. It's natural to feel them. You're human. Of course you're going to wish that you had the level that you had before this burnout. Of course you're going to wish that you were using your languages as much as you were before. And of course it's going to feel awful to make mistakes. Some people say that they love being corrected and that they enjoy making mistakes because it helps them learn. Personally, I can't relate to that. But there are people who enjoy that. But for many of us, it doesn't feel great, and that can bring on some shame. Shame that we couldn't get over this burnout without having to take a break, or just shame that we're not progressing as quickly as we could. There are many reasons why you can feel shame, and it's not good to dwell on it. It's natural to feel it and acknowledge it, but you can't live there. You have to move on from that. Like I said, acknowledge it, don't bury it. But you just can't stay there. Those are 3 obstacles. There are more that can get in the way of recovering from burnout, but those are the main 3 that I've been learning from my own journey recently back to getting into a consistent language routine. I would love to know from you if you have been stuck in a language rut or experienced burnout in your own language learning before. What has gotten in your way on the road to recovery, and how did you overcome that? Leave a comment below and share. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you're interested in language mindset videos when it comes to learning a language, as well as you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram and connect with me there at Passion for Lang. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.